Investment banking roles tend to get a bad rap for 80-hour work weeks and overly demanding bosses, and as real estate has become more institutionalized over time, the hours that analysts are putting in at real estate, private equity, and brokerage firms can sometimes be just as tough. But having worked at 6 different commercial real estate firms myself throughout very different parts of the industry, I can tell you that not all companies are created equal from a work-life balance perspective, and where you work can impact how much you work in a really big way. So if you're trying to figure out where you want to head next in the industry and want to know whether you're stepping into a traditional 9 to 5 role or you're in for 14-hour days and 6-day work weeks, in this video, let's walk through the roles that I've seen with the best and worst work-life balances in the commercial real estate industry and which types of positions to avoid or move towards depending on what you're looking for. So as a general blanket statement, commercial real estate careers do usually offer a better work-life balance than most other high finance industries, and in most cases, about a 45 to 60-hour work week is pretty much par for the course for most analyst and associate positions in most markets across the US. But to get more specific around what you can expect based on the job title or industry discipline you'd be stepping into, let's start this video off with the best work-life balance jobs that I've seen in my experience are the roles that usually aren't going to have you working on weekends, require very limited or no travel at all, and usually offer as close to a 40-hour work week as you're going to get in this industry, and these are analytics and processing focused roles. Now, the category of analytics here doesn't mean job titles like acquisitions analyst, investment sales analyst, or asset management analyst, but instead I'm referring to roles that tend to be relatively far removed from the decision-making process around making new investments and managing existing investments, and jobs that fall into this category include things like research roles, jobs in data analytics, and even underwriting analyst positions at a bank, agency lender, or insurance company. These types of roles are often considered back office positions that don't require much or any client-facing interaction, and while there are going to be deadlines in any job you take on, the deadlines in these types of roles usually aren't based around the timing of a transaction, which tends to result in a much less hectic work life than you might find in other parts of the industry. For these types of jobs, especially at the analyst level, there usually isn't a need for you to travel to see properties, you won't be responsible for producing new business for the firm, and you won't need to worry about responding to client emails at all hours of the night. And instead, these roles tend to be much more focused on processing existing information, whether that's organizing and analyzing data, reviewing borrower financials, or conducting research on a market that probably isn't going to change much on a day-to-day basis. All of these things make time pressure much less of a factor in these types of positions, so if you want to be able to close your laptop on a Friday afternoon and not open your email until Monday morning, and want to keep your work week as close to 40 hours as possible, looking for a position that falls into this category can be a great way to make those things happen even at the analyst level. Now, if you're looking to grind a little bit more than this, but you still want to keep your work-life manageable, the next step down on the work-life balance spectrum from here is going to be roles that start to require a little bit of travel, can sometimes operate around tight deadlines, and tend to have some client-facing or partner-facing components, and these are operations and management focused roles. Positions that fall into this category include things like asset management, portfolio management, and project management roles, or the jobs that focus most on oversight and reporting rather than drumming up new business, but also involve quite a bit of responsibility in making sure the properties in the portfolio are performing as intended and being able to communicate that performance to clients and investors. In an asset management role, since you're going to be focused most on the operations of properties in the portfolio, it's pretty likely that you're going to have to ramp up your travel schedule, since managing capital projects, meeting with on-site staff, and making sure you're in touch with what's going on in the markets your company is active within are all key steps to making sure you're getting the most out of your portfolio's operations. In these types of positions, deadlines can also start to get pretty demanding when it comes to putting together budgets, creating quarterly or annual reports for investors, or preparing for an asset takeover when a new property is acquired. And on the portfolio management side of things, the more you progress, the more likely it is that you're either going to be directly involved with relationship management with existing equity investors or equity raising efforts with potential new partners, both of which make it much more likely that more travel is going to come into play and the deadlines you'll be up against will intensify overall. Project management professionals on the construction side of things also tend to be held to extremely high standards when it comes to cost and timing of the projects they're managing, and requirements to be on site can also lead to quite a bit of travel, which also lengthens the work week in these types of roles. Now, if analytics or operations focused positions don't interest you and you're really looking for a challenge and you're willing to sacrifice your time outside of work to get ahead in your career, the types of positions that tend to have the least work-life balance in the industry are the roles that are going to involve extremely tight deadlines, lots of client and investor facing interaction, and a significant amount of travel, sometimes even at the analyst and associate level, and these are transaction and sales oriented roles. This category primarily includes roles in investment sales, debt and equity placement, and acquisitions, or the jobs that are almost entirely centered around the buying and selling of commercial properties, portfolios, or even entire operating companies, and the positions that are essential to making those transactions happen. In brokerage, you'll often be dealing with difficult clients that expect immediate responses, tight deadlines to get materials out on time, and travel can also be a big part of your work week when conducting property tours or trying to win the business of potential clients in the market. And in acquisitions, you'll see a very similar pattern, but on the other side of the equation, where you'll constantly be under pressure to get a certain amount of capital deployed. You'll be managing the expectations of equity investors and partners, and managing the closing of an acquisition itself can be an extremely time-consuming process, especially when things don't go as planned. In both acquisitions and brokerage roles, there also tends to be a huge emphasis on after-hours activities, with networking events, conferences, and closing dinners being the norm, making a traditional 9 to 5 really difficult to come by in these types of positions. Now, it's important to note that the role itself isn't going to be the sole determinant of the hours you'll work, and the focus of the company as a whole will also have a big impact on what your work-life balance is likely to be. So for example, at companies that are very focused on maximizing transaction volume, like major private equity, investment banking, or brokerage firms, you'll tend to see a lot less of a work-life balance across all positions within the company, even those that are focused on things like research or data collection. And at companies that are focused most on analytics and processing, like dedicated research firms, government organizations, traditional banks, or agency lenders, you'll tend to see some of the best work-life balance in the industry, even within business development, originations, and acquisitions roles. I found that the age of the company can also have a big impact on how hard you'll be expected to work, with newer startup organizations that have been around for about 5 years or less often requiring long hours to get things off the ground, while established firms that have been around for 20, 30, 40 years or more can often have some of the best work-life balance that you'll find throughout the industry. So I hope this was helpful if you're trying to plan your next move in commercial real estate, and if you're working through applications and interviews right now and want some help with the process, or you want some more in-depth training to build the technical skill sets you'll need to land a job in the industry. As always, make sure to check out our all-in-one membership training platform, Break Into CRE Academy. A membership to the Academy will give you instant access to over 120 hours of video training on real estate financial modeling and analysis. You get access to hundreds of practice Excel interview exam questions, sample acquisition case studies, and you'll also get access to the Break Into CRE Analyst Certification exam, which covers topics like real estate pro forma and development modeling, commercial real estate lease modeling, equity waterfall modeling, and many other real estate financial analysis concepts that will help you prove to employers that you have what it takes to tackle the responsibilities of an analyst or associate at a top real estate firm. And if you like this video and want to see more content on this channel on commercial real estate careers, make sure to hit the like button to let me know. And if you're working in the industry right now, let me know in the comments what sector of the industry you're in and about how many hours per week you're expected to work. As always, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you found this helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to see more videos like this every single week, and I'll see you in the next video.